What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Casey, and we are discussing the mid-season finale of Fear the Walking Dead, in which I have lots of feelings and I have lots of thoughts. A lot of them are not great, but I need to start with the main thing, and that's Morgan is gone. Like, he's done with the show. Morgan has left. He has exited the building. Thankfully, he is still alive. But I did not realize until afterwards that this was Lenny James's last episode. And I'm feeling some kind of way about it. I was not ready.
I kind of was. I
I mean,
only because I'm ready for the next thing. You know what I mean?
okay, yes.
We knew the show was ending, so we knew at some point we was gonna say goodbye to him.
That's
and I
true.
think the halfway mid-season is the perfect time to say goodbye to him. That way it's the perfect way to wrap up his story. That way we can move on with everybody else's story and see how those are gonna go.
That is true, because I will say I did like the way that they wrapped him up and they left it open-ended. And also, this motherfucker done went back to Virginia. He going to look for Rick. So as much as I'm sad that he's not on the show anymore, I feel like we're going to see him somewhere else. This is not the end of his story. Absolutely. But it's just like, I don't know, I guess because this is a short season. It's only 12 episodes and we're already halfway through. It's just to the point where it's like, okay, I know we've been kind of sort of, I won't necessarily say hate watching this season, but there's been a lot of things that we have not liked and we've been very vocal about it. But still, overall, I like the show, and to see that it's going so fast towards the end, it's just kind of like, I don't know if I'm ready. Like, there are certain characters I'm not ready to say goodbye to yet, but at the same time, we haven't really been seeing them utilized the way that they should be for a final season. So I guess, yeah, in a way, like you said, it's kind of, it's time to start wrapping these other stories up and just be done with it. But Morgan is gone.
Yeah, Morgan Ammo. I'm glad she finally, at the end, there are two things. I'm glad he was finally ready to let her go. Because even though us as parents, we don't want our kids to be hurt or harmed, but kind of something Shrike said to him, before she locked him into the train car, was like, this is what you want, not what she wants. So he was kind of sort of giving her what she wants. Yeah. Like, you don't want to be with me. You think these people can do a better job? Because even still, even though that's not where he wanted, he knows she'll be safe at PADRE.
Yeah. And then also too, you're talking about somebody who has been programmed, in a sense, for 7 years to believe a certain thing and to, follow certain rules. Now, she tried to do that differently once she met with Morgan and Grace, and you see what happened. Grace ended up dead, and she realized, oh, this is something I really don't want to experience. So I think in that same moment, even though she's young, again, technically she's only supposed to be 8 years old, but still she's been raised differently than we are raised, or the way Morgan was raised, or even the way Dwayne was raised. So at some point you got to say, okay, you know what? Maybe the way that I'm doing things is not what she needs. Okay, let me give it to her. She can make her own decisions. I mean, honestly, that's what PADRE has been raising them to be, independent of adult supervision, adult permission, adult everything, to, to not have to depend on those ties. So I think he thought that that was the best, solution for her. And then I will say this too. For Mo, this whole episode, even though she has been saying, I want you to leave me alone, don't follow me, I'm going to do this. I was calling her bullshit at the beginning of the episode, because when Morgan starts talking to her on the radio, if you really didn't want him trying to come after you, if you didn't want that connection to remain, you would have turned that radio off long before you did. But it's like you were keeping those lines of communication open because you were still kind of unsure. And I think at the end, once she realized, okay, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna live your own life. I thought you didn't want to let me go. I don't. But this is what you want. If that's what you want, I'll let you go. And she was like, no, I don't want to be apart from you. I want to be with you. It's like it's one of those decisions where she had to come to that herself, you know. And I'm glad she made that decision because she has a chance now at I guess you can call it a normal life. You know, yes, it's still going to be difficult. She's going to have to deal with walkers in a way that she had not had to before being isolated on the island. But I also think being out in this world is better preparation for how to deal with it than what they were trying to teach them on PADRE. You know, on PADRE, they're trying to teach these kids, okay, yeah, we're going to teach you how to kill carrion in a controlled environment. We're going to tell you that your parents abandoned you, whether they did or whether they didn't. We're going to raise you to be these unemotional, unattached people. And then you can go out into the world and how are you supposed to be able to rebuild the world being that emotionally stunted? Makes no sense. But right. I mean, we've been saying it from the beginning. Nothing that PADRE does, none of their explanations made any sense. And then you see in this episode, you don't believe your own philosophy. Because Shrike, for all her hemming and hawing, and I'm doing this to protect the children, blah, blah, blah. She was doing this because of her own personal things. You know, she said it in the last episode with Morgan. It's not about what she wants, it's about what you want. This whole thing about what you're doing to these kids is about your unresolved feelings because you were there.
Couldn't save your dad.
You couldn't save your dad. Matter of fact, you were probably the reason why your dad ended up dead in the first place. Because if you and your brother hadn't taken your ass on that island, if y'all hadn't got on that boat because of some stupid binoculars, he could have done what he needed to do. He could have came back.
Yep.
And you had your guilt about that. But, you know, I have to say it though. She got what she deserved in the end, I think. Because I'm going to be honest. So the whole thing with Shrike that plays out, she's trying to get Mo and the prefects to lure the walkers away. She's also trying to find her father's walker because in his binoculars is a set of coordinates, which is which are the locations that they were planning to rebuild the world. So when she is confronted by this walker after still trying to chase Morgan down, you know, she sees her father's walker and she sits there, she looks at him and she starts crying and she drops her gun, she drops to her knees and she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And she allows her father's walker to, to bite her. Now, Madison ends up killing Walker Daddy and they end up taking Shrike to the train car. She wakes up and there's a walker head in the thing, just like, what she had done to countless other people. And June is there. Now I'm sitting here thinking with June there and this walker head, I'm thinking Shrike is about to get what she deserves. No, because June calls into Dwight and she was like, what do y'all want me to do? Finch is the one who says, don't let her go through this. Nobody should have to go through this because it's obvious at that point, Finch is dying. Okay.
Right.
There's nothing they're going to be able to do for him. So Dwight tells June, make it quick, make it painless. I was like, y'all don't stop giving these people easy deaths. This bitch deserves to be tortured. I know that sounds inhumane, but you know what? Shrike deserved it. Anyway. So June is getting ready to kill Shrike and her brother comes in the door and he's like, I just want to see her. I heard she was here, blah, blah, blah. He's all crying and they're both crying and I'm so sorry and this, that, and the other. So June looks at him and she was like, you need to be gone from this island after you say your goodbyes. You need to find another place to live. And she leaves out the train car. And then that's the last we see of Shrike and her brother. Now, I know that she had a bite. Actually, she had 2 bites. She had one on each side. So technically speaking, she should not survive. However, This being The Walking Dead, we did not see a body. We did not see her die. We did not see Crane actually stick a stake through her head. And we did not see him bury her. June left her on the train car that had all of the equipment. She did not have her bites as long as Grace did.
But I don't think her brother would know how to. He always stayed behind. Her brother don't know how to use that shit.
This okay.
And
let me just say it like this.
No,
this
and
is
you
Fear
saw
the Walking Dead.
No.
This is Fear the Walking Dead. When has any of this writing made any sense? When have they done anything that makes any sense? Especially in this season.
But look,
I'm not convinced.
First of all, she had direct bites in her neck and her and both sides of her neck, right? Like the shoulder and the neck. Even if she talked her brother through getting the spots or whatever, the radiation, it's not gonna save her. Number one, we don't know the amount of time it took because Madison left her there. And then we see her with June. June went and got it. We don't know how much time that passed. We don't know how long it took to get from the riverbank.
No, I think they brought her to June because if you think about the car and if you think about what happened afterwards once Morgan left, they had to come back to get Grace's body because he took Grace's body back to bury it in Eastman Cemetery. So Morgan and Madison brought Shrike to the train car because he had to get Grace's body. Because that was the thing he told Madison at the beginning of the episode. We got to come back and properly bury Grace. He wouldn't have left Grace there, especially after.
That's okay. Okay, that's true.
But here's the other thing. Let's think about this. Madison supposedly succumbed at the stadium in a fire surrounded by hundreds of walkers. And of course, she shows up. Troy, supposedly Madison bludgeoned him with a sledgehammer or with something. I forgot what she had. And now the rumors are abound that Troy is coming back. Supposedly the person who was collecting those things at the end of the episode, a lot of people are speculating that is Troy. So, like I said, unless we see a body, dead is not dead on this show. So I'm just gonna.
Well, we also have 6 other episodes to see.
That is true. That is true. But I'm just saying, I don't know if I think Shrike is dead yet.
She dead. I'm gonna say she dead. I'm calling that right now. Shrike is dead.
Okay.
And her brother ain't shit without her, which is clear. So he's just gonna fall in line to whoever the new leader is, which sounds like it's Madison.
I have to say this, and this is nothing against the actor, but his character was like that was a waste of screen time. It was a waste of screen time. You could have told this story with Shrike and had somebody else be the person behind whatever. It just because we saw him in the episode where we got the backstory, and we learned what a sniveling weasel.
And then the episode when they broke the glass.
Yeah, that was the same episode. That was the backstory episode.
That was all the same episode.
And then you see him in this episode. And this episode, what is he basically? He's got the prefects. He's got Daniel's group surrounded. He's telling the prefects to kill them, shoot them, kill them. First of all, the fact that you are telling these children to kill these adults and you are not trying to, that tells me, one, your ass ain't never killed nobody.
Walker included, barely, probably. His sister kept him sheltered.
2, this also showed me you're not a leader of any kind. Because, and I think this is something that I got from Game of Thrones. It was something that Ned Stark said in the very first episode because he had to execute a deserter. And he told his son, he said, do you know why I killed him? And the son was like, because he ran from his duties. He said, but do you know why I had to swing the sword? And the answer was, the person who hands down the sentence should be the one to carry it out.
Mm.
So my thing is, Crane is sitting here like, kill them, and then
like, you look, I wanted to punch her in her fucking head.
Let me tell you, that is one kid character that I'm like, you went from being passive to, oh, I'm gonna follow Mo and see what she's talking about, to all of a sudden you so aggressive that you want to kill these people because they represent something you lost. Bitch, if you don't go sit down somewhere.
Time out.
And quickly. Then at the end of the episode, once everything is all done, she's like, what's next now? You know what? We're gonna leave your ass here on the island and we're gonna go and do something else, since you didn't want nothing to do with any of this anyway.
Honey,
she got on my nerves in this episode.
Because even if you now call yourself the, next in charge or whatever, you call yourself being over the prefects, why you ain't shooting nobody? Why your gun ain't fixed on nobody?
And she was so aggressive about it. Kill them, bitch.
Because if that's the case, you should have been the first one shooting somebody.
Girl, she got on my nerves for them 10 minutes she spoke in this episode. Got on my last nerves. I was like, you know what? I need to see you meet somebody like a Judith Grimes. She could never. She could never. But that's okay, because now PADRE is gone. PADRE has been, we think, overrun because they let all the walkers out. Mm-hmm. And what was it?
Wait, the walkers weren't on the island though, were they?
They weren't on the island, but what they did was when they kind of overtook the kids, Mo started leading them to the water. And Daniel said Shrike felt like, because June was monitoring the communications, Daniel said Shrike felt like the current of the river was going to wash the walkers towards the island. That's why they evacuated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay.
But I was just like, all these people, just leave her there. Just leave Dove there, because she didn't want to be a part of none of this anyway. We already know her parents are dead, so it's not like she's gonna go and look for somebody. You want to be this mad and aggressive and whatever? Okay, you know what? You can stay and do this.
Work out your shit.
Right. Let everybody else go do what they're supposed to do.
Because, like Madison said, some of y'all parents still out there. Don't let her speak for you.
But then she started talking about going back to the island to get the files. I'm like, so now you're about to go and I
mean, you need that part.
Walkers, yeah. Just
they probably gonna, they're not gonna, it. We as outsiders know there are so many ways to get through herds.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's because Morgan knew about the sliming yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody outside of like the Alexandrians know about the whispers.
Yeah, no, but
skies.
Madison would probably know about the guts too, because remember, Nick used to do that.
Right.
So I think
so they have a way to get on that island to get the files and come back.
Yeah.
I think that part would be easy.
And I don't think I'm gonna be honest, I don't think the island would be that overrun, because walkers, one, we already know they can't swim.
Right.
So unless there are walkers who are right there next to the shoreline or right next to the banks, it probably won't be as many. They would probably be able to get through it.
I think so. Because I just don't see like that many, even if there were a lot on the island, they still got a way to get through them.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, it would be harder in water because the water would wash away the smell or whatever, but grab you a walker,
they still got boats. Still got a boat.
That too. So the file, I think getting the file is going to be the easy part. That's the easy part. It's hunting down all the parents.
Yeah.
But you also have to call out telling you come to me. This where we. But you see, they're not giving them the coordinates to PADRE. They tell them come here and we'll pick you up.
Right. But I mean,
because they still trying to maintain some. Right. They still trying to maintain some sense of security. you know, because you putting the car out on the World Wide Web. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce's at that point trying to figure out what.
Right. And you may have some people who are not who may not be looking for their children, who may know that their children are dead, or who may know that their children are gone, or
and they may be coming to Madison for revenge. It's like, bitch, you took my kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because whether the child is alive or not, you still pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, you still got to pay something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm sure there's gonna be people that's been looking for her, because you got to have somewhere. Yes, you glad your child back, but you have to have somewhere to direct that anger, because bitch, why you take my kid?
Right.
You know? Right. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. So anyway,
go ahead.
Let's go back to Morgan real quick, because the title of the episode is All I See Is Red. And you finally get a look at Morgan's inner mind in a sense in this episode, because we literally start out the episode with red, and you start seeing all of these different little flashes. Grace dead, Grace as a walker, Grace's walker attacking Mo, different little things. And then we see Morgan on the railroad tracks outside the train car, and Madison is there. And he's confused. He was like, how did I get outside? And she was like, I heard about Grace. I came to check and see if you were okay. When I got here, you were out here killing them. And he looked around, and there's all the walkers that were surrounding the train car dead. So she takes him in, and he was like, well, what's going on? She was like, you swung at me. I had to knock you out in order to get you to stop. And that's when he starts panicking. He was like, why don't I remember? And she's like, you weren't you. It's okay. She takes him inside the train car, and we see Grace has been covered up, which I'm assuming Madison probably did. But you also see a lot of blood there. And, when she gives him back his axe, she's like, what's going on? And he tries to tell her, oh, okay, well, Mo left with Shrike. They're going to go to the train yard. She was like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Look behind you. What is all that? And so you see that Morgan took Grace's blood and wrote on the walls again, Grace turned, clear, Mo ran. I can't do what I think one of us said, I can't do this again, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's looking at this shocked, because he's like, okay, first, you need to get away from me. I'm dangerous. And then he starts telling her about this. He was like, I thought that I was past this because I put them to rest. He thought that all of this, the mental break, was because of Jenny and Dwayne and the guilt he felt over them. So once he put them to rest, he thought he was over it. Well, no, apparently not. Because Grace is passed, because Mo is gone, and he got locked in that train car. Ding, ding, ding. He was like, oh, okay. So time to let the beast out again. And so what we learn and what we see throughout this episode, when Morgan gets into that red space, and we saw it a little bit on The Walking Dead, but I think it was kind of unclear on The Walking Dead on purpose. It's like we knew that he was seeing things, or at least that's what we thought. But what we didn't realize was when he gets into that mode, he's killing anything in front of him, regardless of whether it's a person or a walker. This would explain why he was like that with Carol, why he was like that with other people. It wasn't that he was fighting them specifically. He's fighting anything that's coming at him. And you see that several times during this episode, where he gets to killing and he starts seeing red, and then all of a sudden he's being picked up off the ground by a group of people that he didn't even know was there. Daniel's group found him and Madison at the shipyard. He's got blood on his hands. He doesn't remember, because when they first got there, there were only a few walkers left, and one of the walkers was a young girl dressed in an orange top, and he didn't know if that was Mo or not, because you never saw her face. And I don't think he was paying attention to the fact that she wasn't wearing a jumpsuit. He just saw a young girl, long hair,
orange,
and automatically thought that it might have been Mo, that he might have been too late. And so he went into this thing. Now, this is the thing that tripped me out during this episode, because once you have explained what is going on to Madison, and once I'm assuming Madison explained it to Daniel's group, because the way they were handling him at first, it was like, we got your back, but we're staying away. We're giving you time to clear your mind and to realize your situation.
Yeah.
Now, throughout the episode, when he starts going in and out of these little spaces, he's like, oh, I got to get some more, da 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 da. The fact that folks keep grabbing him, Diane in particular, I was like, bitch, you're going to get killed. Because when he gets ready to leave to go after Mo, she grabs him like, where are you going? And he was just like, I said, she does not understand.
If you don't get your hands off me, woman.
Because she did it twice. And then when Madison did it, she grabbed him, but she let go immediately, like, hey, I'm not a threat. Yeah. I'm just trying to help you. But that Diane, the way she was coming, I was like, this ain't what you want. You will never find your daughter if you keep putting your hands on Morgan, because you got about one more good time.
And I was so, and I, even with her, every child she saw, she thought with her. Because remember at the end, she was staring at one little girl. I'm like, let them please tell her first who her kid is. Please.
Right. Because every kid is going to be your kid. You are the antithesis of every mother knows her child.
You thought that was your damn child.
So, yeah, like you said, someone please tell her who her child is. Tell her who her child is.
Go to the file like this.
Right. Like, what was your child's name? Oh, let's look. Because I need her to. Yeah.
Please give her a resolve. Please. Let it be, and don't let it be a child that didn't make it. Please.
Because she put her hands on Morgan one too many times. I was like, okay, you know what? I need him to knock her on her ass. Like, you already know, you've already seen what, first of all, you've already seen what this man is capable of. You've seen all the walkers that he took out. You saw the fact that.
I want to fuck with him. I'm going to say no.
People don't want, I don't know. They don't listen. They don't, I don't know. It's just whatever. They need to, yeah, they need to leave Morgan the fuck alone, which now they don't have to, because he went through enough in this episode and he was able to figure this out with Madison's help, which I don't know. I'm just still, and maybe I'm never going to be okay with Madison being here, because it still, to me, does not really make sense.
Because they never really did explain how the fuck she got out the stadium.
They probably will in the back half, because I did see some promo pics today. We are finally going to see Victor, and they are going to reunite. So I have a feeling if she tells anybody, she will probably tell him, because that was technically her best friend.
Yeah, and that's who she was trying to save the most, aside from her kids.
So I have a feeling we'll figure that out. But for now, in this episode, I guess it's just kind of, I don't know. And I know part of it has to do with the guilt that she feels. Like she said, I'm the reason Mo ended up at PADRE in the first place, so let me try to fix this. But it almost felt like they were trying to suggest that she cared more about Morgan than she should at this point. Like, her and Morgan don't really know each other. You know what I'm saying? And I understand you have
only thing she knows is that he has a connection to her kids. He knew her children.
Right. But in that same span, she got his daughter taken. She got him to the island, tried to help them escape, didn't see them again for 7 years. And now all of a sudden she's his big cheerleader. It feels weird. You know, the whole.
No, I understand it though. I understand why. Because like when Mo was the one who came into her cell, and she was like, I thought I got you out of here. Because she did at the beginning say that she, after Morgan got, she saved Morgan, and she's like, I'm gonna help. I'll help you get your daughter back. This is even before. So
Yeah, but I guess
to me, it's like he gave her the answer that she needed about her children. Because remember, she didn't want PADRE looking for her kids because she knew that would be something held over. So when she met Morgan, and Morgan was like, "This is what I know of your children. I met your kids. You know, this is what I know for sure. Nick died. I know Alicia got bit. You know, he's giving her an ending. You know, he's giving her,
I guess,
so she don't have unanswered questions that, are my kids still out there? Are they wandering? Well, I mean, we still don't know about Alicia, but you know, are my kids still out there? Are they
after that
safe?
Scene,
are they, huh?
I said, I don't know. After that last scene of the episode, I don't know. I think Alicia's fate might be, because that was her prosthetic. Whoever that was listening to
no, but remember, she had more than one. She had something else, because no, remember when she went back to the bunker, somebody found her arm on she had left it on the bed, but she had already had something else.
No, that wasn't her arm. That was the not the sword, but the little weapon that she used to carry.
I know that's what she and that's what she ended up putting on her. I'm gonna go back and look, but I want to say that's what she ended up with. She didn't have that little stick thingy no more with her bone in it. She didn't have the bone one anymore. That's what she ended up leaving. She didn't have the bone one. Somebody had picked up. I swear, somebody picked the bone one up off the gurney. I'll look back to make sure, but I want to say she left that one. She has a whole new one. She has something totally different on there.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Because when I saw it, I was like, because when I saw it at the end, I was like, okay, who did he get that from? It didn't make me think he took it off of Alicia.
And see,
because I know he already saw it somewhere.
Because everybody keeps saying that it's a he, and I'm like, to me, I gotta go back and look at it. Looked like female hands,
girl hands.
Yeah,
and it was
destroyed.
It was girl hands, but so that didn't. And because when they picked the thing up, I'm like, well, I know that ain't Alicia because they have two hands,
right?
So we know that's not Alicia,
right? So I'm like, okay, hold on, let me see. I'm looking at the video of Alicia's final scene now.
Was that season 8? Season 7, right?
Season 7, yes. When she was walking off towards the back towards
the tower.
Yeah, no, she did have a different. No, okay. She had that prosthetic arm. She had a sleeve over it, but you could see the fingertips. She had the prosthetic arm. So she had that arm that whoever it was at the end. Yeah, I'm looking at the clip right now. So yeah, somebody got Alicia's arm. So that means Alicia got to be dead.
No, it doesn't. It's a prosthetic, which means it comes off. If somebody found Aaron's arm, do that automatically mean Aaron's dead? Aaron has 17 tips on that thing. And how do you know she ain't upgraded? Alicia's not dead. Alicia's not dead. I'm not even.
I don't know. I think
we ain't seen nobody. We ain't seen nobody. And last we saw her, she was standing upright. She wasn't sick. She had fought that fever. She was standing upright. And if you know Alicia like I know Alicia ain't just giving up no fucking fight.
But that's the thing that makes me wonder, because I don't see her giving up that arm if especially that arm has her bones.
Which means she probably got into a fight and left it. Or something happened where she didn't have time to put the damn thing, or the motherfucker upgraded. She upgraded to some better shit.
Because the only other thing I could think of, and I know this is like way, way like far left field. The only other thing I can think of is that somewhere on that island, she found someone to give her another arm, a transplant, whatever you want to call it. Because looking at the things that she picked up, those are Victor's sunglasses, Alicia's arm, and I can't remember what the third object was. but they all have something to do with people in the group.
I gotta go goddamn look.
Okay, so Casey and I paused the recording for a moment. We fast forwarded to the very last scene of the episode where you see the mysterious person taking down the coordinates that Madison is reading over the radio. And okay, going back and looking at it, it could be male hands. I will say that. The hands are delicate, but they could be male hands. But the other thing, before we get to the different things that the person is picking up, there is a map. And on this map, you see there's a route that is marked off and you can't really see it. I'm going to have to do what Anthony hates doing and freeze framing and like trying to enlarge the photo. But you see them starting from the West Coast in Mexico and California, and you kind of see them going up to the border. You see them going down to Mexico. You see them going into Texas, and then up through, I think this is Louisiana, where the last marker is that I see. So again, I feel like when they show us stuff like this, they're showing us this stuff for a reason. Mm-hmm. If this is Troy, like a lot of people are speculating, it could show his path. Like, okay, I'm gonna of course, if Madison was the person who killed him, quote unquote, or tried to kill him, it would make sense that he would try to follow her, try to find her and get his revenge, whatever. So that could be the path that he's taking. But again, I'd have to actually look at a real map and try to figure out where these coordinates are and see if that makes sense. But I did find it very interesting that they did put the map like very specifically facing the direction of the camera with the markings. Like, you guys are showing us information.
Right.
So we have that. And then let's see, there's Victor's glasses. Oh, the hammer. That's what it was. Because Madison hit Troy in the head with the hammer at the dam. They picked up a hammer.
So she left the hammer? She hit it and dropped it.
Probably so. And then this is,
you better have a fucking
this is Alicia's prosthetic with her arm bones.
Okay.
Now, why he would have Strand's glasses, because I don't think Strand was a part of that storyline. Was because he wasn't at Otto's ranch. Mm-mm. So maybe he just has the glasses because, of course, when Alicia woke up,
if he found her at the tower,
right? But I mean, even then, that's kind of sketchy because the tower was on fire. I don't know. You know what? I'm not the detective type person.
Yeah, because they're going across Texas. Wait, hold on.
You're looking at the map, right?
Yeah.
You see it going clear across Texas. And then it's like going into Louisiana, and then it's like the very southern coast.
Okay, so it's going along the Mexico border, is going through Texas, and it's right now that last X looks like Louisiana.
That's what I thought.
Down in Louisiana.
Which we also talked about. But it's kind of like, okay, so is that where they started? And then, when we were trying to pinpoint where PADRE was, of course, we talked about this, the map that was in the last episode, the episode where they were trying to save Grace, it showed they were clearly in Georgia at the time, because you saw some of the cities from Georgia and the markings on the map, which I believe, I don't know if that was the soldiers' maps or if that was Grace's map, but PADRE has been sending them all around to like scavenge and do all this other stuff. And you saw those black marks going towards the lower southwest portion of the state, which again, as we discussed,
they were going
right there
across
around Georgia,
going down.
Yeah, going right there around Georgia, Alabama, Florida, that little corner. So, I mean, if they're traveling between Louisiana and that part of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, where those three coastlines meet, that could also make sense. It's not too long a distance, I would say, for them to realistically make back and forth.
Right. But did you also notice in this vignette when it's going, this watch in the forefront, it's kind of blurry? I want to say that's a watch. That's either a watch or a compass.
I did. And it's just it's so much there's just
so much in that scene. For not to be no people, it's so much.
Right.
And then if you look at it, because like his canteen is new, that flashlight is new, like not new, but you know, it ain't all weathered and worn. If that makes sense.
The only other thing I could think of was, what if that was like maybe Al or something? Because we haven't seen Al in a long time, you know. And then also you get to see like the other tease is when the camera is slowly going past the person who's writing on the notepad, you see the bottom of their hair.
Yeah.
So we know it's long hair. It looks like it's either blonde or gray. Troy was very clearly brunette, but it's been some years. It's been at this point in the storyline.
And if you've been in the sun, you know, the sun will lighten your hair.
But it's been about 10 years now. Because if you think about it, 7 years PADRE, and then the few years before that. So it may be around anywhere between 8 to 10 years that it's been. His hair could have changed color. He could have dyed it somehow if this is Troy. But again, it's kind of like, why?
Because who else would have? We have to go. Ain't because who else? Ain't nobody else.
Mm-mm.
There is nobody else, unless
especially
it's some
when
of the
you
people,
show that. Especially when you show that hammer.
Unless it's some people who, you know, some of the people that were left with Charlie, but hell, didn't we blow all them up? Some of Charlie people.
Yeah, we blew all them
up. Because who else have they encountered on their route? That's it. Other than the farm.
The only other people that I can think, on the farm, like I know a lot of people have been talking about Taka because I don't think we know what happened to him. I don't remember. You remember Taka? He was the leader of the indigenous clan, the one whose land Otto and his sons were on. Remember,
but they have black hair.
Right. Well, I mean, it's been 10 years. Their hair color could have changed.
And Madison, was Madison at the was Madison? No, Madison wasn't there when they were in. Oh no, Madison.
Hold on. Wait. So nope, that's not Victor. That's Nick. Okay, because now I've pulled up the YouTube video of Troy's death. And yes, Madison has a hammer in her hand. That's what she hit him with.
But did he die?
See, that's the thing. We never saw a body, and we know that the dam flooded. So it was always assumed that even if he survived the hit, he probably drowned because one, you probably had a badass concussion, you know, or some kind of head trauma. So it's not like he would have been in our minds, in the minds of reality, grounded in reality. He wouldn't have had he wouldn't have been coherent enough to escape.
Save himself.
Right. That, at least that's what I'm thinking. But if this is what people are saying, and I will say this too, someone did post a photo, like an onset photo. I'm not sure if this is a real photo or if it's photoshopped. It just happened to come across my timeline. And, I was like, I don't want to see any spoilers. but supposedly the director chair that was there had Troy Otto's name on it, or it said Troy. So I was like, are they really going to bring him back? It would just be interesting to me if they did, because one, I don't know if I see Daniel Sharman coming back for this. I don't know. It would have to, I guess it would really have to be a story that makes sense.
But to think about it, you have to have an old nemesis, because we don't have the storyline time for a new one. So it have to be an old, they have to bring back someone from the past.
I mean, they did that shit with the Reapers.
Yeah, that shit. But they at least got it across more than 6 episodes. You know, this is way too short a time. You know,
but it's like, what would be the whole point in bringing him here now?
I have no clue.
It just, okay, because the way that things played out in this episode, Morgan finally got his daughter back. He got his peace of mind back once he, you know, like you said, he realized, okay, just because I let her go, just because Grace is gone, Jenny is gone, Dwayne is gone, that does not mean that they are gone from me. You know, they are still a part of me. And this is apparently what starts to repair or heal that mental break he had. So he's okay enough to leave with Mo. He goes back to Eastman's area. He buries Grace in the graveyard next to Eastman. He calls on the radio for Rick Grimes. He does the same message that Rick was doing, or that he should have been doing. And he was like, hey, man, this is Morgan Jones. I'm going to come find you. I don't know if you're still at Alexandria or what, but I'm coming. I'll leave, you know, I'll you know, call on the radio every day at dawn. I'll leave it on for a few minutes after, and who knows, maybe you're listening. And he tells Mo to come on, and apparently they're on their way to Virginia. So regardless of whether or not we see Morgan again, we got, I feel like, decent closure with his story. He has his daughter. He's going to go try to reunite with his friends, because like he told Madison, he said, you know, I've said this before, I left people behind in Virginia, and I never felt right about that. People who cared about me and people who I care about. And I need to go and see if they're okay. I was like, when he said that, I was like, ooh, you about to be in for a world of hurt, Morgan, because a lot of the people you knew are gone. And I think the thing that will probably hurt him the most is the fact that Carl is gone, because that's Rick's son. That's the one that, you know, that started that whole bond between them talking about their sons, him trying to help Rick reunite with his son. I think that's going to be hard for him. But anyway, like I was saying, we got closure on Morgan's story.
Yes.
For Madison's story, okay, so at the end of all of this, she decides that, you know, if the prefects want to go out and create the communities that PADRE, you know, had the coordinates for, she was like, okay, we can do that, or we can stay here. We can make PADRE what it was supposed to be. Which, okay, I get that, if that's her way of trying to redeem herself for the things that she has done. Okay, I get it. To bring Troy back into the story at this point, you are basically bringing someone who knew Madison when she was, I won't necessarily say at her worst, but again, this was a Madison I did not like. That whole storyline, her on the farm and the way she was acting, is one of the reasons why I stopped watching the show in the first place, way back in season 3, season 4. You're bringing in this old antagonist who's gonna have feelings of, you know, hatred, feelings of remorse, feelings of revenge towards a person who is 10 years removed from the person that you were, the person who killed you. Granted, I understand she still tried to kill you, and you got some feelings about that. But to bring him in now with this new Madison, who is trying to turn a new leaf, who is trying to be a better person, the same person that she was trying to be when she died the first time, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like you're pushing the story backward.
Yeah.
So
we've already moved past that.
Right.
Like even as viewers, we've moved past that.
Right. So
Because bringing in, it wasn't like Troy was a nice, likable guy, and we were like, "Oh, he died so tragic." No, he was a dick.
He was a huge dick.
But we were glad he died.
Right.
Because so maybe they're just trying to bring us somebody that we hate more than Madison. But
I hate Madison.
It makes no sense. You are absolutely correct. It makes zero sense to bring him back. But I get it because, like I said, it's not enough time to introduce somebody new. Yeah. It's just not.
It needs to do what we've been saying it needs to do since they announced bringing Madison back. Make it make sense. That's all I'm asking. If you're going to bring Troy back, make it make sense, because let's be honest, some of the story points that they have been doing this season have not been the greatest. The writing has not been the greatest. You're on the last 6 episodes. Make it make sense.
And even for Troy to come back, Madison was gone for years.
Yeah. Why are you still looking? Well, okay. I was going to say, why are you still looking for her? Because she literally was off the grid for 7 years in a prison. But in the beginning of that radio transmission, she did say, "This is Madison Clark." So you're kind of putting it out there that, hey, I'm alive. And then it could be so many other people who have crossed paths with her at any given time during that.
But we already know it ain't the parents. The parents just wanted their kids back. But so they not
that's not gonna, I don't think those are not all the parents, because I'm sure she didn't just take kids from the Galveston area. She probably went to other locations, and then again, she wasn't the only collector. True. So there are probably other parents that have had dealings with her in other areas who don't know that she was instrumental in PADRE's fall, who don't know that she is working to reunite you could be saying that on the radio, but if it's somebody, if I'm a person who she's taking their kid, as far as I'm concerned, that could be her ploy to try to get more people to come. That could be a trap. So again, just make it make sense. Just make it make sense, and don't make it be this storyline that just drags out for six episodes. I mean, you did that enough with the PADRE thing, which honestly, the way that they kind of wrapped it up, I feel like they did an okay job. At least they didn't take us into, well, we don't know how they're going to do this, but at least we don't have to deal with Shrike and her brother for the next 6 episodes. At least
not her.
We think, right.
At least not her.
Right. The other interesting thing I did want to talk about, going back to Morgan and his mental break and everything that was going on, we finally get the real reason he sent Mo to PADRE. And that's because he's telling her there's a point in this story where she's trying to lead the walkers to the houseboat. And she and Morgan get trapped in there because Morgan is in the swamps. He's fighting the walkers, and apparently at some point he comes face to face with Mo, because Mo had said she was going to get away from him. So at some point she comes to him and he starts attacking her because he doesn't realize it's her, and she has to stab him in order to get him to snap out of it. And then he tries to tell her to go to get away because the walkers are surrounding them. And what she ends up doing is she pulls him into the houseboat. So now they're trapped in the houseboat. The houseboat is in danger of capsizing. The walkers are surrounding it. And so she and Morgan are having this argument because she's mad because she feels like, oh, now we're trapped. Now we're going to die. I should have just left you. You should have left me alone. You should have stayed away. And he was like, well, why didn't you just leave me? And she was like, I wasn't going to leave you to die after I just had to watch her. So again, at this point, Morgan is trying to distance herself, but with that one statement, you realize she is bonded to her dad now. And regardless of what she may say outwardly, she knows in her heart, she can't just leave him like that. Okay, cool. What we find out in this instance while they're talking, and you still see the writing on the wall from when he was in the houseboat. We find out that the first time when they were trapped in the houseboat and her boat was about to get, overtaken by walkers, he started seeing red. He started killing the walkers around them. And he said he almost attacked her. And that was when he knew she wasn't safe with him and he had to give her up to PADRE. That made so much sense. That one little thing, because even when he explained it before and he was like, I saw I wouldn't be able to protect you, walkers almost got to you. That made sense.
Wasn't even saying I'm trying to protect you from me.
But you're trying to protect her from you because you can't control it. You've already said several times, when this happens, you black out, you lose time, you don't understand what's going on. Like he literally started in one place and woke up in another place outside the train car, whatever, and doesn't remember how he got there. So if that was what was happening to him and he caught himself from attacking baby Mo, yeah, that's enough to fuck a person up.
Yeah.
To know that as much as you want to protect that person from everything that's going to harm them, the biggest threat to that child is you, because you're not in your right mind at this point, because you were in danger of losing her. And that could have happened at any other time. Yeah, when I heard that, I was just like,
oh,
for this character to have gone through as much as he has, yeah, I was kind of like at the end when he got ready to leave and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna take Mo, we're gonna go da 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 da. I was like, you know what, you deserve it. You don't need to be around all these people anymore, because one, it's too much stuff going on. You've been too focused on trying to help everybody else. It's finally time for you to focus on you. And part of that is, yes, you got to go back to the people who took you in, who cared for you, who protected you, and you helped protect them, and he keeps talking about the friend that told me don't run. I forgot he was talking about Rick. That's what Rick told him when he came to visit him in the scavenger in the junkyard. And he was like, okay, I gotta go back. I gotta make sure that those people are okay. Okay, so that made me happy. Like I said, I'm sad that he's not gonna be on this show, but that just for me opened it up that he's looking for Rick Grimes. He's gonna show up on that Rick Grimes show. When Michonne and Rick come back to Alexandria, Morgan is gonna be there to greet them. That's my head canon. That's my head canon.
Or he may help Michonne.
I thought about that too. I was like, maybe he'll cross paths with Michonne, but something tells me Michonne is way out of that area.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
because she was riding horse, so she way gone.
Yeah,
she way gone.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm glad he got his happy ending. Someone who didn't get their happy ending, unfortunately, are Dwight and Sherry. Because
I was so sad to see them break up.
Oh my God. But you know what? I kind of feel like Dwight, like that's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
I mean, they have been through so much together, starting with the sanctuary, going through losing her sister, having to go back to the sanctuary, Sherry having to agree to be Negan's wife in order to save Dwight's life, Dwight becoming the person that he became because of Negan, and all the stuff that they went through, them getting back together, them breaking apart again, coming back together. It's been so much.
It was a lot.
And I kind of feel like with Finch's death, that was just the end of it, because I don't know, especially in that environment, with those circumstances and with everything that y'all went through, like you guys literally, I don't know. I feel like it was a long time coming. I was sad to see it happen, And I always thought that it would be Sherry to say, okay, this is done. But for it to be Dwight is kind of like, I feel like if Dwight was the person to say we're done, that absolutely meant that they were done. Like Sherry could say we're done, and Dwight would be like, okay.
Well, she did over and over again.
Right. But they always ended up back together because Dwight never gave up on them. Mm-hmm. And as long as he didn't, she could be shaky. She could be, I don't know if I can do this. But Dwight being the anchor of that relationship, I think was what kept them going. And even when they were, on the train car, when he was talking about, I don't know if I can do this or whatever, she was like, well, we can do this. We can take Finch. We can run. We can be a family again. She was the one who said that this time instead of Dwight.
True.
So then when he was like, after they buried Finch and they're like, what's next? And he was like, I know it can't be this. It can't be us. We can't keep doing this. We keep hurting each other, which I don't think this was any of it. This wasn't their fault. This was purely Shrike, but still at the same time, I can understand that. Like, you ended up in this situation where y'all had to be apart for 7 years. You had to pretend that y'all didn't love each other. You had to pretend that this wasn't your child. That's a lot. And then to get all of that back just to lose that child in such a horrific way. Yeah, I just
too much.
I feel so sad for them, but
I agree with Dwight, but I was sad to say. I was like,
right.
I said, all you went through to find her, and then when she kept trying to leave you, and then she tried to shoot you, and then, oh,
right.
So it's like you watching your long time. Oh, y'all fought through so much,
y'all much,
every adversity, and y'all still made it back together.
Like, can we get one happy ending? Just one.
We got Morgan.
No, but Morgan had to lose Grace in order to have that happy ending. So it's like I'm talking about like the couples, the people who have been through it, who love each other. I realize we're gonna get Rick and Michonne, but even that's not guaranteed. Like, they may find each other and something still happens. I'm still just kind of like, let's see. But like,
but keep in mind, we also still have 6 episodes left. I don't think this is the last we'll see of them.
I hope not.
I don't think this is the last we'll see of them.
Yeah.
Oh, and Morgan, yes. I don't think this is the last. This may be the end of their story, but I don't see this being the end of them.
Okay.
I mean, the end of them on the show.
Right.
Because, we've had other couples break up, but then remember at the finale.
Yeah.
So it's still a lot. It's still a lot of time, even though it's only 6 episodes. It's still a lot of time.
Yeah.
So.
I did feel kind of bad though that Morgan left without saying goodbye to them, but I think also at the same time it's probably best because his daughter lived while their son didn't. I think that would have been a little bit painful, especially considering
Morgan. What's her name? Not Morgan. What's her name?
June.
Madison.
Oh, Madison.
Madison can always, pass on the message of whatever. So they know he didn't die.
Yeah, I know. But still, it's just, I don't know.
It's all bitter.
Regardless of the difficulties in that group, like, that's still family too, even though that was kind of a
weird dynamic.
Kind of a shaky thing, but yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. But okay, so we ended the episode. Morgan and Mo, they're headed towards Virginia. Dwight and Sherry are going their separate ways. Madison, Daniel, June, they are all together. And like I said, they're planning on making PADRE what it's supposed to be.
Were those Luciana's glasses?
I think those were Victor's.
Okay.
I think they were Victor's.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they were Victor's. The other question I have is, and I understand they had the equipment and all this other stuff, but how the hell did they get all of those shipping containers on the freighter and into the ocean already? Please answer me that.
Well, technically, at a shipyard, they have the little machines that can move.
Do
But
you
there
know
is
how
still a
long
whole
those
bunch.
machines have been out of commission because they haven't moved those containers since? So you
It
mean
might
to
have been
tell me
warmer
that
than month.
within the course of a couple of days that you were able to move all of those shipping containers,
Yes.
with all the noise that entails? So you mean to tell me you moved all of that stuff and didn't draw walkers back into the shipyard with all the noise and all the activity, and you were able to get it on this boat? And who put the boat out in the ocean? Because Shrike was there trying to control shit, trying to find her daddy. So Shrike was on
I'm sure some of the parents know how to drive. There were still adults present.
but they weren't the ones that drove it out there in the first place. How did it get
But
out
that
there?
don't mean they don't know how to drive a boat. Somebody may have some boating skills. Somebody may be captain skills. Somebody construction worker know how to move a crane and shit.
Do you see the look on my face?
And you see me trying to convince you?
That's too convenient.
It's The Walking Dead. What do you expect? Of course it's convenient.
And I'm sorry. I have grown into Mo. I have grown into Zoe Merchant. She still ain't 8. You ain't convincing me that this child is 8. You're not. But the funny thing too, I will say this. At the end, when she's in the cemetery practicing while Morgan is talking to Eastman's grave, she looks more kid-like there than she has through the rest of the season. When she has her hair down, she looks younger. Yeah. But like when she was in the jumpsuit, no, she was totally looking like a 12, 13-year-old.
That was
14-year-old, 11-year-old.
That was the point. They were trying to throw us off.
I guess. It was nice to see Morgan go back to the cemetery, because when I saw them walk through and I saw the graves, I did tear up. I was like, oh my God, he really did go. And then when I realized he buried Grace, I was like, he took her.
Yes.
Quote unquote home.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, Eastman's place was the first home Morgan had in a long time once he left that Clear apartment.
Yeah.
That was kind of where
and that's also where he got his
where he started to find peace. Yeah, a little bit of peace. So I love that scene. I loved, him bringing that in. And then also the title card for this episode was different, because you see more, and that should have clued me in that this was his last episode, because you've never seen another title card where all the different people come in. And it's like in that title card you had, hold on, because I wrote it down, because I was like, who all is in this title card? You have Jenny, Dwayne, Eastman, which was really weird because Eastman was not a part of this show, but he was a pivotal part of Morgan's background. So you got Jenny, Dwayne, Eastman, Nick, John, Isaac, Rachel, Alicia. I believe that was John Dory Sr. and then Grace. Was that John Dory Sr. with the hat? I think that's who that was.
Yes.
Because I can't think of anybody else who would have like.
Well, wait a minute there. Maybe Alicia is dead if she was in that, because everybody else in there is dead.
That's what I was thinking too. But also at the same time,
but we didn't see a body, so I'm not giving up.
One, we didn't see a body, and two, as far as he knows, Alicia is dead. So I don't know, but yeah, I thought about that too. I was like, yeah, they put her in their montage. Alicia gone. She gone. We'll still hold out hope.
I am,
but yeah, I think she's gone. But I tell you, watching the end of this episode when he's on the radio and he's talking to Rick. I was just sitting there like, yes, go find your friend. Go find your friend. Go show up on the Michonne show. Go show up on the Rick show. Go show up on the Rich show. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Can't kill Morgan Jones.
No, Morgan Jones don't die. He don't die. But yeah, I think I did like this episode better than some of the other ones just because we did get that kind of full circle moment for Morgan. We did kind of get to learn more fully about him. Oh yeah, that was John Doris Sr. because I see the little montage of faces when he places the kiss on Grace's grave, and you get to see the different people that influenced him, and they also showed Benjamin on this one, Henry's brother, because that was also a big part for him. So I like the fact that they included those. Um, but yeah, like I said, okay, so Morgan's gone now. Grace is gone. June is there with Madison. Dwight and Sherry, we don't know where they're gonna go. So now we have a whole nother group of people that we need to figure out what the hell happened to. We need to find out, we need some closure on Luciana. We need some closure on Charlie, even though, yes, I know Charlie is probably dead because of the whole radiation stuff, but still, I would like for them to specifically say
she died.
This is what happened to Charlie. I need to know where the fuck Sarah is. I need to know where the fuck Wendell is. And I need to know where Strand is. And I'm trying to think, is there anybody else that we're missing? I don't think we're ever gonna find out what happened to the other kids. They just gone. They dead. They gotta be dead. Cause we didn't see them before they left. None of them showed up to be on the boats. So they're just gone. And supposedly when the nuclear warheads went off, all the kids were with Wendell and Luciana, I think. So the fact that we have seen Wendell and Luciana since then, but we haven't seen the kids, yeah, that pretty much tells me what happened to them.
Right.
Which sucks because I hate it when they do that.
Be heard from again.
Right, like you give us these characters and you make them very important, you make them pivotal, and then you just kind of usher them off screen, and we're not supposed to ask questions. We're supposed to just assume something happened to them, which, yes, in a way I can understand that. This is a apocalyptic world. This is a world that deals with walkers. So yeah, there's probably more casualties than not, but still,
don't get us into somebody and then just be like, oh, they gone.
Don't make us care about characters and then don't give us closure. Which is why I'm about
but to. Don't bring them in. Don't even bring them in if they're not gonna have a closure. We get it. We know that it's the end and things happen. Mention it.
You could have even.
It don't have to be a whole scene. It don't have to be a whole scene. It can just be.
It doesn't.
Oh well, Sarah and Wendell just went to wherever.
But see that. I don't think that would. I just have thoughts about that.
I mean, but is it at least if it's a conversation, it's better than nothing at all.
Yeah, but I just I don't know because the way you brought those two in was so great. It was like it's such a big in such a big way. You brought them in.
Did they say Morgan?
No, but you remember they were the ones they were hijacking the 18-wheelers with the supply.
Right. Remember Morgan was on top of the truck.
I can't remember. All I remember is Morgan sitting in the bathroom in the handicap stall with some actual toilet paper, and Wendell wheels into the bathroom with the shotgun and said, "Why y'all always taking the handicap stall?" And Morgan was like, he was like, "Get out of there." Morgan was like, "Can I finish?" First, I was like, "Look, man ain't been able to properly take a shit with toilet paper in years. Let him have his luxury."
Let him let it go.
Yeah, but you bring them in such a way and you make them an important part of the story. You give us this beautiful, episode with Sarah recounting, her and Wendell's beginnings and how important he is to her. And you give us all of this stuff, and then all of a sudden we just don't see them.
Right.
That shit don't sit right with me. But we still have 6 episodes. I'm hoping that what we think happened with them just being not mentioned on the show, let's just hope that that's not actually what happened. But yeah, so we're on the mid-season hiatus now.
Yeah.
And the last 6 episodes will debut sometime in the fall. I don't know if there's a date for that yet. I forgot to look it up. But in the meantime, we do have Dead City that has started. It aired the same night that the mid-season finale for Fear aired. So we will have that to talk about for 6 weeks. And then yeah, we prepare for the end of Fear while we wait for the arrival of the Daryl Dixon show, which we are supposed to be getting, I think, a teaser trailer for that. I want to say tomorrow. I have seen like a small clip that they posted on Twitter today, and I'm looking at it like, I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but we're just gonna go. We're gonna go. We're gonna
because the number one thing is how the fuck he gets to Paris.
Girl, yeah, that'll be a whole other. That'll be.
You have to have a good ass way to explain him getting the fuck to Paris.
Yeah, we will. But like I said, we will still have some Walking Dead content. But yeah. Any final thoughts on this episode? Bye, Morgan Jones.
It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
Okay. And on that,
we will see them later.
Okay. And on that note, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.